Hello everyone, is of course me, Dan, here back again with another review, and today is the day. It is the day we've been waiting for God knows how long, because this movie is being pushed back. It's now here. Tenet is out in UK theatres. I believe it's out in some places in Europe. I don't think it's out in the US at the moment. I think the release date for that has just gone MIA, I assume. But yeah, it's here in the UK. I saw it yesterday. I was in the movie theatre with 3 friends of mine. There was only about 5 other people in the cinema, so I did not have to worry about social distancing, but we watched the film. Now, quickly, I will just address beforehand, this will be a spoiler-free review, mainly because, 1, I don't want to spoil it for the mass market in America, who undoubtedly will have not seen the movie yet. So, to respect you guys and trying my best not to have the film spoiled for you before you go in and hopefully watch it in some point in the near future, there will be no spoilers in this review. And I also won't talk a lot about the plot of this movie because, again, I don't want to reveal any plot points that may not have been already revealed in press material or the trailer. So don't worry, no spoilers in here. This will be completely spoiler free. Without that being said, let's get into the review. So Tenet is a film that revolves around our main protagonist, played by John David Washington, who is an agent who's tasked with preventing a deadly scheme that could result in World War III, while having to deal with objects as well that are reversing through time. And that is all I'm going to say about this film story-wise, because once again, if I talk about anything else in depth, I will either be spoiling it for you, or I'm just going to really confuse you guys, which I don't want to do either, so that is as far as I will go in terms of talking about this film in any, great detail in terms of the story. But my good God, I really enjoyed this film, and Tenet, right off the bat, was just a brilliant film. It's been about 7 months, I believe, since the last time I went into a movie theatre, and I think that was to watch Birds of Prey, if my memory serves me right. So it's been a while, but this movie was just absolutely fantastic. And I've got to say as well, compared to Nolan's recent films that he's done, I'd say this is easily his best film, in my opinion, that he's made, probably since Inception. In terms of the story, again, without talking into specifics, it is a very confusing film. I will not, push that aside and try to hide that. I was confused at certain points throughout the film. The first half an hour, I would probably say, is where I was there trying to think to myself, okay, what is this film about? What are its themes about? And after about the first half an hour, I did get an idea of what the film was, and I was very much able to work out what the film was doing, how this film is using the concept of time. There is a reason for why I found it a bit difficult in the first half an hour, which I will address later on when we talk about the negatives, but I think the film's story overall was very different, and you have to give credit to it for how unique it was, and I think it ultimately did pay off, and I did find the story overall very engaging, not just because of the way that it uses time in it, but also because of the actual plot line and also because of the events and the characters and what they have at stake as well. Speaking of characters as well, we have John David Washington as the protagonist. I really like him in this film. He's a really terrific actor. He was a fantastic in BlacKkKlansman. He's great in this. He gets through a lot of physically demanding scenes, and he oozes charisma throughout the entire film. There are so many moments where it's just scenes between him and Robert Pattinson just having back and forth with one another, and the two just bounce off each other so incredibly well. And John David Washington, a brilliant leading man for this film. And again, Robert Pattinson, fantastic. I think this is really a performance that will turn a lot of the naysayers who say, oh, he can't play Batman. This performance, I think, will put those things to bed completely, because if they weren't already sold by him in films like The Lighthouse or Good Time, I think this film will definitely ease people's minds on that, because he's great in this, and he's probably one of my favourite characters in the whole film. I just love his, his rapport with John David Washington was brilliant. Elizabeth Debicki, I hope I pronounced that name right as well, in this film is really good as well. She's very much the emotional linchpin of a lot of the scenes in the movie, and I really enjoyed what she brought to the table. Again, I won't spoil her role in the film or her connections to characters, because again, fear of spoiling, but she was great in the movie as well. You have Kenneth Branagh in here, who plays the main antagonist. He's definitely hamming up his performance. He's not exactly going to win any awards for the most subtle or best written villain of the year, but you have to say, Kenneth Branagh, he knows what performance to go for. He goes straight for it, and my good God, the man pulls it off with some success. Here, his Russian accent is it's just beautiful. It's a thing to behold. It definitely made me chuckle it a few times throughout the film. Maybe not the emotion I was supposed to feel, but I loved seeing him on screen, and he was a very good presence to have throughout the entire film. Visually wise as well, this film is absolutely stunning. The cinematography in here is absolutely fantastic, which is only further bolstered by the amazing score this film has from Ludwig Göransson, who replaces longtime collaborator Hans Zimmer. He was doing Dune during the production of this film, so he could not participate with doing the score, but Ludwig Göransson's work in this is fantastic. Definitely some, I'd say, Interception and Interstellar vibes within the soundtrack, but it feels unique and of its own, and I like how he brings the touch of having quite a few music cues that are clearly being played in reverse to, again, really help suit into the film's themes of inverting time and how the music is linking directly to that. I thought that was a really cool touch. The action sequences are fantastic. This was easily the part of the film that surprised me the most, because Nolan's movies have had action sequences where they are very good, very watchable, but not exactly memorable. Whereas the action in this film truly was memorable. Like, there are multiple fight sequences throughout the film where I was just blown away by the practical effects and also just the way that these scenes were filmed. Again, not going to spoil them at all because I want you guys to go in surprise, but there are definitely sequences that messed with my mind in terms of, like, how did they film this? Like, how did somebody think in their mind, okay, I'm going to do a fight scene or an action scene in this manner, and then manage to pull it off on screen, not just in terms of the practical effects, but even when they use the CGI, it's so seamless that you don't even notice it. It's just such a brilliant film action wise, and I think it's got probably some of the best hand-to-hand combat sequences of any Nolan film ever. I genuinely think it could be better than the hallway fight scene in Inception, which is a very controversial thing to say, but I genuinely love the action in this film that much. It really, really did surprise me. In terms of negatives, the only real few that I do have is that, like I say, the first 30 minutes of the film are a little bit hard to follow because of the fact that it is obviously trying to show you a lot of ideas but not really giving you a lot of answers, and I feel like maybe that was deliberately done on purpose, but it certainly had me for the first 30 minutes just thinking, okay, this is visually cool, but I don't understand what's happening, so there was that side to it. The sound mixing for this film I actually think was a little bit questionable in some parts. Like I say, that first half an hour, the sound mixing didn't help with me trying to understand anything that was happening in the film. And again, I don't know if this was the film's problem or if this was just the cinema's speakers, but I've heard other people say the same issue to me, so maybe it's a problem with the film, I don't know, but it definitely didn't help when I'm obviously in a film like this where you really have to be paying attention to what all the other characters are saying when you can't really hear half the dialogue. And I will say, this is not going to be a film for everyone. If you're somebody who doesn't like Nolan films that don't exactly hold your hand as you go through them, films like Inception or Interstellar that do demand you to have a lot of patience and to be paying attention to what's happening on screen and to be able to follow through with this complex and intricate story, then you may not like this film. This film probably will not be for you. You might enjoy the action sequences, but the actual story you will probably just get completely lost in, because if you're not paying attention for even like a brief window period, you're going to be lost for 15 to 20 minute sections of the film. So it is a film that demands your attention, which may put off some people. But with all that being said, I loved Tenet. I thought this was a really good film, very surprising, because I went into it thinking it was going to be a very good film, but I'm not sure if I was going to think it was a great film. It ended up being a really, really great film. I really enjoyed my time with Tenet. And for my final score, I'm going to give it probably a 9 out of 10. I feel comfortable giving it that score at the moment because I really did enjoy the film. Could it get higher in the future? It depends. Depends on if they sort out the sound mixing when it comes to Blu-ray. If that's the case, then I might be tempted to maybe push it up to a 10. I really love this movie, and please just go ahead, and if you're a massive Nolan fan or you love any spy films or action films, I highly recommend you guys to go out and seek this film, especially during the coronavirus pandemic. These films need our support, they need our financial backing. So make sure you go out to the cinema and see this film and give it all the support it needs, because it absolutely deserves it. Thank you very much for watching my review on Tenet. I know this has been a long time coming, but it's finally here. I honestly thought at some point that this film was just never going to get released in theaters, so the fact that it's even here is a miracle in of itself. So just thank you all for joining me on this journey of reliving all of Christopher Nolan's movies and re-reviewing them. And of course, now that we've done the final film, all that's left to do now is just to get through all of the other films in Nolan's filmography that I haven't reviewed on the channel, and then of course do my updated ranking video of all of Nolan's movies, which is going to be very, very interesting, and I'm very much looking forward to getting ahead to making that video and what your guys' thoughts are. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. If you're new to the channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It would be massively appreciated. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll hope to see you all again next time.